What's up, guys? This is Bullfather Fell-Handed, and this is update 3.5. Now, granted, I will not cover everything, but I will cover a lot of it. Now, if you want to know the ins and outs of what they have done to each individual tank, you need to go to console.worldoftanks.com. That will take care of you. Go to news. You will see update, patch notes, things like that. And then you can check on everything, that applies to you. Now, the main thing everybody has issues with is the handbrake. About the location, where they need to put it, how to shift it around. Now, guys, keep in mind, you don't have to use the D-pad for the handbrake if you choose not to. You can change this. It's not a big deal. You just go to Start, then Options, and then you can choose different layouts for your handbrake. In this particular case, my handbrake is set up as left shoulder, and what this does is it shifts your radial commands to A, and then your shell type to down on the D-pad, which is different, but it's not actually that bad. So that's kind of what I recommend to you guys. There's a few different ones that go different directions on the D-pad. It's okay. I'm not crazy about it being on the D-pad. Let's just put it that way. Moving on. There's a lot of changes in this update. Huge amount of changes in this update. And there's going to be more coming mid-month when they add the line of check tanks. Now, here's the thing, guys. They have changed a lot of things. You're going to see a game where I'm in the BERT, and the BERT is now massive. It's about the size of a T-69 if I just had to put a point on it. They nerfed the Death Star's turret and the 113 and I think the E-75. There's so many changes, guys. You know, gun depression, gun handling, everything. Now, like I said before, what's on everybody's mind is the E-brake. Obviously, the faster your tank is, the better off you'll be in using the E-brake. Now, it does just absolutely kill your speed. If you're going fast, yes, you're going to be okay. It's going to slow you down considerably. But if you're going not so fast, you use the E-brake, it's probably going to just completely stop you. Now, everybody's asking, they're saying, hey, does the E-brake work on Arty? Does it work on tank destroyers? Does it work on whatever? The E-brake works on everything. Now, that being said, you can go in whatever vehicle of your choice, and as soon as you turn and hit the E-brake, you will see one side of the tracks lock up. Now, does that mean, you're going to be as effective as the Lynx here? No. The issue is some tanks are just naturally better at it. Your mediums, your lights are really going to put a hurting on the E-brake. The BERT, I'd like to think back in the day before it was made extremely large, would have probably been an ideal candidate for it. But everything can use the E-brake. If you turn and hold the handbrake button, you will see one set of your tracks stop and the other go. Now, about these circles and everything on the tactical map. Okay, the small circle nearest your tank is your 50-meter auto detection radius. Not really sure why they put that in there. Now, they say the green cone there is your spotting distance. I'm not a fan of this. The reason I'm not a fan of this is because it's not accurate. I trust WoTinfo.net. That's what I trust. You want to find out. Granted, of course, it takes a great deal of math to understand, what the other person has and what you have and how far you are away and how much further you need to be away if he has recon or situational or optics or what have you. I don't think it's as dry, as cut and dry and as simple as they say. Oh yeah, you'll be able to see everything within this green arc. Yeah, I'm not a fan. because there's a certain amount of points on the tank. I think there's 7 points on a tank where you can spot into the barrel, commander's hatch, things like that. So I'm not in love with everybody assuming this is how far they can spot, assuming they have LOS. It goes deeper than that. I think they're trying to simplify the spotting range and the mathematics when it's not supposed to be simple. Does that make sense? Anyway, the range around your tank, the large dotted line around your tank, is also allegedly the distance other tanks will detect you. That's the detection circle. Not a fan of that either. Like I said, I don't think it's that cut and dry either. Anyway, aside from, you know, figuring out which way your turret's pointing, which a lot of people had issues with that, I don't really see there's much to be gained from this. I think it should be an option. I think you should be able to turn it off and on, because if you start using it as a crutch, you know, bad things are going to happen. You need to know, you know, if you run a tank a lot, you need to know the insides and outsides. You need to know, you know, how far you're going to be spotted at such a range, what have you. Moving on. As you can see, the Burt is massive now. No longer the tiny Burt, massive Burt. I just wanted to run that for you and show you guys how much larger that tank is. Now, the Bat Chat is incredibly fun with the e-brake, because as you know, this is a fast tank and it can get up to speed fast. So this is something that can actually be, you know, used in combat. Your light tanks and your very fast mediums end up using this more often than your heavies, because what happens with the heavies is they're normally going so slow to begin with. When they e-brake it up, they just kind of turn and stop. Something new in this update: when you get tracked, your tank will literally slew to a halt most times. Also, I should mention that if you completely tip over your tank, it's on its side, top, whatever, within 10 seconds it will automatically right itself. Just bloop, you're done. And then someone said yes, they're doing this, they're putting in physics to make it more real. I'm gonna leave that one alone. Now, as far as I'm going to go back to the things they added on the mini-map, because I have a big issue with this. This is exactly like when they first put in the, I guess, low rent armor inspector in the garage. That just, it didn't take into account angles, it didn't take into account effective armor, and I am a very detail oriented person. I'm thinking that everything on the mini-map is that. It's probably very, very rough right now, and maybe it'll get better. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about it, because obviously I feel some type of way. The update came out yesterday. You know, I played it for a little while, and then I just kind of had to stop, because I felt it cheapened the game a little bit, because everybody is just out there cutting donuts. And yes, I would say it does have some tactical uses. I've used the e-brake tactically, although they are few and far between. It works really good on tanks like the Bat Chat that just has not horrible but mediocre turning. So if you have low hull traverse of the 50M, this would be a good e-braking would be good on the 50M, because the tank is okay, but it's kind of sluggish when you get to the turns. So that's that. Now guys, also coming up is going to be a new Soviet hero tank towards the middle of the month, the IS-3A. It's going to be red. You have to fight for the motherland, or excuse me, the fatherland, and you get this tank. We are also getting a free Skoda T something Czech tank, so look forward to that. That's coming. And then they're going to start flushing out the proper Czech tanks about the middle of this month. So those of you looking for the TVP, I'm not exactly when that's coming out for sure. I don't know if it's going to be like everything else where they flush out some of the tanks and then they do the rest later. So just keep an eye out for that. I'm sure it's going to be here before you know it. Now, most of the time, when you're running a light or a heavy, or excuse me, a light or a medium, you just kind of work an area and you don't really have a lot of, I guess, opportunity to use the e-brake. So it seems to me like you would get more use out of the generalized physics, which is going up more hills, going up at a steeper angle, driving over rocks, things like that. So that's where I'm thinking that yes, it may actually be a little more useful than it previously was, because you can do more things with it. As you can see right there, the T-49 I shot kind of slowed to a halt and cut right. Before the update, you know, we've only seen tanks such as like the E-75 do that. Certain tanks, I know for a fact the E-75 did that, or at least it used to before certain updates. And the reason is that was part of that tank's build, I guess you could say. Got shot right there. Auto went off. And guys, you should always run auto fire extinguishers. Now that we're here and we're watching a little gameplay while you're listening to me talk about the update, you should always run autos. It's bottom line. If you don't like burning to death, because you know what? It happens so rarely, you might as well run it. Now granted, of course, if your tank catches fire a lot, or you run in a German tank, which, you know, if you are, you should be used to it catching fire a lot, then you would need to run your manual, because you would go broke buying auto fire extinguishers for your German war machines. Now, guys, in addition to a little bit of bat chattery here, you know, I try to run tanks that I could kind of show you the ins and outs of the clutch brake, or possibly even the mechanics. But the issue is that, like I said, there's not a lot of things you can do here that really, you know, show the new update. Now right here, the reason I put this in is you can see the Death Star has a little bit of a different turret, because he got a turret buff. I bounced off the upper plate there. Go me. Anyway, the Death Star got a turret buff. I think the E-75 got a buff, turret buff, or an armor buff. 113 did as well. Frontal armor on the turret went up to 290 instead of 250. So, you know, that's incredibly awesome for the Chinese people who enjoy running that tank. Or, excuse me, yes, that's Chinese, sorry. Anyway, so a lot of tanks got buffs, a lot of tanks got gun buffs, a lot of tanks got nerfed. And what they did this update, guys, is they ended up nerfing vision rates on a lot of tanks. So if, you know, you can't really see as far as you normally can in your tank, then more than likely it got a nerf. And I would check the website just to see if your favorite tank got a nerf, because that may affect how you play. I'm sure some of you guys aren't going to remember, but this was year one and they did an update and everything was fine, and then the very next update, I think this was literally the second update they did, summer of 2014, they nerfed the E-75's engine, and it was horribly slow even if you had it completely upgraded. And then they went back 3 days later and they reversed the nerf. So it's true, they do listen to you guys. So if you guys complain enough, if your favorite tank got nerfed, and if enough of people feel that way about it, you could possibly get it overturned. Wargaming is a good company that listens to everything, or at least most everything, that the player base says. So we should all be so lucky on our other favorite games. Moving on. T29 here, nothing really special to see, just making excellent use of hold down. I was just kind of driving different tanks. As you can see, there's a little bit different stowage here and there. Certain tanks, Hellcat I know, has exceptional new stowage. I mean, it's kind of all over the place. It would be a good move if you could add stowage, in other words, to certain locations on the tank, to kind of have your own custom tank. Will that come in the future? It's possible. I know it's been discussed. What I think about it first is, let's get the other tanks out. Let's get the Czech tanks. Let's get the Swedish tanks. Let's get the mechanics, the inner working of the game, things like that. And then let's go to, yes, can you add storage to your tank? Yes. Can you design your own logo and upload it? Yes. Whatever. Let's get the basic stuff done first, and then move on to the stuff that doesn't really matter. Just like every time Wargaming comes out with the what was it, the Halloween game where you had to kill the spectral tanks and the toy hunt, or the toy tank, the first year, I got a little disappointed, because I always thought that they could use that time more efficiently by fixing bugs and the like. But you know what? That's just me. I just think, you know, it might have been wasted. And you know what? The community loved it, at least I think, for the most part. And that's fine. It's, you know, I'm more pragmatic in my mind, because I think, you know, really you could use things. You could use that time and energy to fix things instead of adding things that you're only going to use for a few days, I guess, is what I'm saying. I'm not a party pooper. Moving on. Now, guys, listen, you can't cover this entire update in this video. There's so much more going on with this update. You just need to make sure you go to the website and you check it out. Go through the patch notes. Because if you made a video with every single thing that's been changed, it would be hours long, because they really did a number on this. At any rate, Tank Bowl has been delayed. They're going to try to get it fixed and set it up for tomorrow. If you guys have noticed, you cannot activate your Tank Bowl today. Technically, you'll be watching this tomorrow, so you can't activate your Tank Bowl yesterday. Hopefully, they are going to get it fixed. I know they're working on it right now, so we'll see what happens tomorrow / today. We'll see what happens today. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you guys next time.